What's up, everybody? Today we'll be looking at Resident Evil 9 Requiem. My name is ArklayRanger. How y'all doing? So first off, I'd like to say that I absolutely loved this game. The gameplay was fantastic. It's pretty much anything you would want from a Resident Evil game. It's got a combination of both Resident Evil 7 and Resident Evil 4 remake gameplay. If you don't know, which you probably already do know, you play as two characters in this game. You play as Grace Ashcroft, who is the daughter of Alyssa Ashcroft from Resident Evil Outbreak, and then you also play as the man, the myth, the legend, Leon S. Kennedy. So whenever you're playing as Grace, you have more of the slow-paced, more survival horror gameplay of Resident Evil, kind of like Resident Evil 7. And then when you're playing as Leon Kennedy, you have the more action-paced, action-oriented horror, more like Resident Evil 4 Remake. Now, I won't be getting to spoilers here, but I will give you a spoiler warning whenever I do. I think the hospital section is the best section of the game by far. It's when you play as Grace, it's fantastic. You're going around, you're collecting items, trying to survive. It's classic survival horror at its best. And then you'll go through again as Leon. Now, I have seen some people say that whenever you're playing as Grace, you should leave stuff for Leon, but I think that's just the biggest L take ever. Because, listen, Leon gets stacked to the nines with all kinds of guns, alright? All Grace gets is like a leaf and a raindrop half the time, alright? So make sure you're giving Grace pretty much just grab everything as Grace. You're gonna need it, trust me. Now, on the difficulty, I played on the standard classic, as you can see right there. It gives you the ink ribbons to save. I think it might make the enemies a little bit harder, but I'm not sure. I have not played on Insanity. I will go back and do Insanity someday if I ever get a new PC, because this game is pretty well optimized. Even on my really not so great PC, that's probably due for an upgrade. I run on a gaming laptop, so I can't really play games too well. Even on that though, on low settings, I was able to play this game, and usually I can't do that with most games. I think it's more of like it's just like Unreal Engine 5 is just what really does it to my PC. I just can't run games like that. So the RE engine is a godsend for optimization. This thing, I honestly think this might be one of the best engines in gaming right now, to be honest. Um, they have a new stalker enemy in this game who is very scary. It's called The Girl. She shows up pretty early in the game. You've probably seen her from the trailers. She might be the scariest stalker enemy in the Resident Evil franchise. I'm not even kidding. Maybe Nemesis might still take the cake, but I mean, Mr. X is pretty scary too, but her design is definitely the scariest, in my opinion. For some reason, I think she looks like one of those, what was that book series called? Oh, Scary Stories to Tell in the Dark. Y'all remember that book franchise? For some reason, she kind of reminds me of one of those illustrations from that franchise. I don't know why. I don't know if any of y'all others see it or what, but that's kind of what she reminds me of. I will say I do kind of wish she was a little bit more in the game, because whenever you get to the hotel section, she can't go on the light. So whenever you get to the hotel, oh, not the hotel, the hospital, the main hospital area, whenever you get out of the first section of the hospital, she kind of just doesn't appear until a little bit later on, and then, yeah, so that's all I'm going to say for that. We're not going to get into spoilers too much. Um, and I will say this, I think the game's difficulty is pretty decent. This is probably like one of the only Resident Evils where I actually felt like I was running out of supplies a lot. And normally that doesn't happen. In Resident Evil games, they always try to say like, "Oh, conserve your ammo, do this or that." You do not need to conserve your ammo. You can get through the game just fine not conserving your ammo in most Resident Evil games. In this one, I felt like I actually had to conserve a little bit. So I would say the survival horror aspect of conserving ammo and stuff is you need a little bit of conserving ammo, but you could still get by pretty easily. Um, there's a lot of I like the enemy variety as well. So if you don't know, the zombies in this game have a thing where they act sort of like they did in real life. So some zombies will be like the maid zombies will act very differently from like patient zombies, and then there's like some other zombies that sing, some zombies that are like the butcher, the big guy, he's in there. There's a ton of different types of zombie types in this game. Um I will say this, there are some later sections I didn't much care for. But I won't get too heavy into that just yet. Um, but yeah, overall, I think this is a really, really good game, and might even be top 5 Resident Evil for me, to be honest. Um, this game is awesome. I loved it. I think Grace is a great character. Leon is just as cool as he always been. Also, they gave Leon S. Kennedy a hatchet, and I think that might be so much more cooler than a knife. I'm gonna be honest. I always thought the knives were cool in Resident Evil, but man, that hatchet was like, oh, that gameplay with the hatchet. Got the parry still from Resident Evil 4 Remake, which I love that mechanic so much. Sometimes I forget to use it, but when I do use it, it's always cool. So yeah. Some of the things I didn't like about this game is, well, I don't like the fact that you can. I don't know if you could ever really have another new game experience, like another completely new game. Because I feel like after you play the game once and you beat the game once, it's kind of always going to be new game plus because you would have unlocked some new things that you can't really get rid of. So if you don't know, we're not gonna get into spoilers, story spoilers here, but basically, Leon has a thing where he can get points from killing enemies. Now, in a normal new game, when you first start the game, you will have that later on in the game, where you'll get points from killing enemies. But if you beat the game already once, they actually give you that ability to get points from killing enemies from the very start, and those points are used to buy upgrades for your weapons and for your weapons and all that, and buy new weapons and all that. So it kind of sucks that they make it to where basically you can never really get a full new game experience. It's only ever really new game plus. I don't know if there's a way to reset it to where it's just a new game and not a new game plus. I don't know, but I haven't tried it yet, so I have to see. All right. Let's go into spoiler territory because I want to kind of talk about some of the story aspects of the game. I will say there are some issues I have with the story. Spoiler warning, here we go. If you haven't played it, please go play it or watch my playthrough of it. Just saying, it's there. So the story, I have some issues. Spoiler warning, here we go. The ending of the story has something to do with Oswald E. Spencer. And basically, Oswald E. Spencer has a change of heart, or it shows that he had a change of heart before he died. And like he did in Resident Evil 5. He had a change of heart, and he made a vaccine or a cure for basically, I'm not sure if it's every disease or every disease that he created. So like the T virus, the G virus, or helped create the T virus, G virus, progenitor virus, all that stuff. It's basically a cure for all those viruses and afflictions. And I don't know, it just don't seem like a thing he would do if you know stuff about Oswald E. Spencer. I mean, he did a lot of terrible stuff. Like, I don't know, it just seems a little weird. Um, Another thing is this character named Zeno, who Basically, from what I understand is he's a clone of Wesker, Albert Wesker. But you don't really get to fight him at all, which kind of sucks because he was a cool character. I would have loved to have a boss fight with him or something. It would have been awesome if we did. Um, Another thing that I did not get the other ending. I didn't see what that was like. Another thing I've seen people say for some reason is that they said that this game relies too heavily on member berries and nostalgia bait with like all the references it makes to all the other games in the franchise. Like there's just like a ton of like minor things and then there's like big things. Like a minor thing is like Grace having to use she basically breaks off a valve at one point, like one of those valve wheels, and then she gotta use a wrench to like turn it. That's basically referencing Resident Evil 3 Nemesis, where Jill has the same thing happen to her. She has to use a wrench to crank the thing. But then there's like some big references, like you have Mr. X coming back in the RPD station. Whenever you go to the RPD station, you go back to the RPD station, you go back to Raccoon City. There's a Albert Wesker stand-in. They're talking about Oswald E. Spencer. The Gideon dude, he's another nemesis, so you gotta have another nemesis fight and all that stuff. And I see people complaining that it's like, oh, this is member berries. They're just doing this for nostalgia bait, blah blah blah. What they don't realize is that this is the 30th anniversary game. It's supposed to be a celebration of everything Resident Evil. That's the point. Now, you could say that maybe it harms the narrative in some ways, and that I can maybe see you saying. But I don't know. It seemed like a weird gripe to have whenever it's supposed to be like that. It's supposed to be, you know, it's supposed to have all these different references and Easter eggs to all the past games, basically. So yeah, I think this is a great game. Honestly, I'm gonna be making a tier list soon. I don't know where I'm gonna put this one. I'm definitely, I'm definitely putting it in an S. I can tell you that. But as far as which one I'd put it above, I'm not sure. I have to look at my past tier list. I actually made a tier list a while back of the whole Resident Evil franchise, back whenever Resident Evil 4 Remake came out. So I cannot wait to make another one, updated tier list, because I made that tier list before I played all the games again on stream. So I need to go back and make another tier list because I did play the other ones all on stream uh again for the first time on stream. So yeah. Anyway, great game. If you haven't played it already, go out and play it. It's fantastic. You won't regret it if you're a big fan of survival horror. If you're a big fan of Resident Evil, if you just like, honestly, even if you're not any of those things, you'll probably still find some way to enjoy this game. It really is just that good. One small little thing that I didn't mention though is that I did not like the Raccoon City section. I mean, it was okay. Like, it was pretty good, but I don't know. I feel like it dragged on for too long, having to find all the stuff. I also did see that some people said this game was short. I didn't feel that way. I got like 13 hours out of it, and I was looking at everything. I mean, if you really take your time and really like look at everything, you'll get a lot of time out of it. And Resident Evil games are always massively replayable. They give you all kinds of unlocks. You can get infinite. You can go for infinite ammo. You play it on harder difficulty. You can do all kinds of things. So, like I said, if you haven't played this game, definitely I think it's worth a shot. Go give it a try. You won't regret it. I promise. This game is awesome. But anyway, that's gonna be it for this one. Let me know what you thought about Resident Evil 9 Requiem in the comments down below. Did you like it? Did you hate it? What score would you give it? I give it a 9.5 out of 10. Just need a little bit more to get just need a little bit more to get that perfect 10 out of 10 score. But other than that, I think it's a fantastic game. But anyway, thank y'all for watching. Appreciate y'all for real. Like I said, make sure you tell me what you think of Resident Evil 9 Requiem in the comments down below. And I will see y'all on the next one. Y'all take care, and bye for now.